Quickscreen Show. I'm your host, Nate Albaugh, head football coach for the Milford System Park Bearcats. That is in Milford, Illinois. Don't know where that's at? That's okay, because I didn't either before I interviewed for the job. Today, as promised, I'm going to talk about cover 2, but before I get there, I might as well admit how wrong I was about the bowls last week. And the Big Ten went over on New Year's Day, and of course, Northern got beat. But I don't necessarily think that was all bad, because each Big Ten team was a huge underdog. It was like unranked team versus ranked team. So I thought they all played pretty darn well. Now, last night, we might as well talk about how amazing Alabama looked. And I definitely, as I talked about earlier in the Quickscreen Show this fall, I'm not impressed as a whole right now with the SEC, as impressed the rest of the nation seems to be. Obviously, everybody on ESPN is like drools over anybody that's in the SEC. I'm not that impressed with the SEC as a whole. Obviously, there's a lot of good teams. Texas A&M is good, but I don't think the SEC can even take credit for Texas A&M yet. I'm a Big Ten fan, and Nebraska doing well. I'm just now getting the point where I think the Big Ten can start to look at possibly taking credit for Nebraska being good. But I think it's going to take a couple years before the SEC can claim and say, hey, Texas A&M is good because they're in the SEC. But I'd have to say, though the SEC is good, I definitely acknowledge that. I'm not drooling over them. But I have to admit this. Alabama is awesome. They're absolutely awesome. Last night was amazing. And it couldn't have happened to a better team to absolutely kick the crap out of Notre Dame. If that was my Fighting Illini, it would have been much more depressing to watch. It was still a little bit boring to watch because it was such a butt kicking. I would have loved to see a better game. But at least they beat the crap out of Notre Dame, and I'm kind of okay with that. Without further ado, let's jump into the cover 2. And the challenge that I had was turning a 3-3, an 8-man front, my 3-5, into something that could be the cover 2. So take a look with me. So here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. You see here I've got drawn up my 3-5-3 against, I just went up against, right now just drawing up against a basic wing T set. So you see wing right here. I've got my DNs here. We play them in 5s. I've got 2 Ds here. We call these our dogs. These are our stacked backers really right here. Sometimes they'll play stacked. We'll play games with them. But by default, my DNs are in 5s and my dogs are here in, if you would call, 40I. We put them about 3 yards off in an inside shade of that tackle. My nose is head up, and my mic is about, well, it depends on how fast he is. We got a pretty good one right now. We'll play him at almost 6 yards sometimes. And then 2 M's you'll see out here. These are our monsters. We call our outside backers our monsters. And this is, they're playing at normal monster depth. We started off the year having them play fairly wide, and we ended up tightening them as the year went on in situations as we found we were a bit too wide at times. And you can even look back to a previous Quickscreen show where I talked about how wide to play them. And I was debating, could I get away with 5x5? And I found that in some situations, the 5x5 helped me a lot. And in some situations, like versus tight end wing, 5x5 is way too stinking far. So I learned that lesson the hard way. And then you got your corner, free safety, and corner. What we love about our 3-5-3 right now is this triangle right here. This triangle from Mike to DNs back to Mike. This triangle here that includes the 2 dogs, the Mike, the DNs, and the nose. We love the way this triangle, these interior 6 play. We feel like we fit up well against each and every run play with those interior 6. Our kids know it well. Our coaches know it well. We love this interior 6 play right here, and we want to see if we can find a way to get into cover 2 without abandoning this interior 6 play. So here's what we found, and this is how we ended up stumbling on to cover 2. Over here on the weak side of any formation with no tight end, here in the C gap, this is one gap, and I had two defenders. You can see I have my defensive end and my monster both sitting here in C gap. And of course, these are things that we try to stay aware of all the time. This is a situation where we have two players in one gap. That's unnecessary. Is there something better? This is going to make us ask this question. Is there something we could do better with one of these two guys? And what that led us to do was, in passing situations especially, we would bring this monster and walk him out, head up of our the split end, and our corner would back off here to a safety type position, and they would end up in just this, what you see, a cover 2 shell type look. We called this our heads up look. So I'll take you over to film, and you can see a touch of film of it from this year. And we'll take a look. You'll see right at the beginning of this play, my outside backer realizes there's no tight end. So he comes out, he tells our corner, hey, drop back, we're going to go to heads up. We didn't spend a ton of time on this technique here for this outside backer, and obviously that's something we want to do in the future, is spend more time on teaching this outside backer how to play this technique. This year it wasn't a true cover 2, it was just underneath help. We wanted to collision that guy here. We had a 2nd and 10, we're coming to our heads up. So from the top, you'll see my outside backer recognize, my corner's getting lined up, outside backer tells him, hey, back off, we got heads up here. So he backs off, and we basically have this guy pretty well covered and a safety. We add an additional safety here. So we'll take it to the next play. They come out in the same formation. My outside backer, again, he's looking, there's no tight end. He tells him, hey, I got you, we're going heads up here. This is definitely a passing situation. As you can see, it's 3rd and 9. So this is a great situation for us. We felt great about being in our heads up call here. He wants to collision number 1 and look for number 2 coming out, and sure enough, that's what we got. He collisions 1, and he looks for a flat threat. And we knew coming in the game plan that this back loved to come out of the backfield, and we've got our outside backer just sitting on it. You can see he ends up trying to make a play on a high throw. Don't think he quite tipped it, but my safety behind, corner, ends up making a diving catch and turns it into a turnover for us. Nice little side note, I love this little leap right here by number 1. I love going back and watching kids' reactions. Yeah, buddy. So let's take it back to our draw up, our chalk talk here. And so what that left us with is, okay, so if we can get away with cover 2 here, the rest of my cover 2 spiel, ideas of getting to a cover 2 from the 3-3, we've got to attack, okay, what about the strong side? Because now we're dealing with a tight end. We can't just take, let's say this guy was split way out. We can't just bring him all the way out wide with him and leave a tight end side with nothing over there. So this was the area we had to address. And these are my ideas. So I'm sitting here with a weakness, but I've got, again, just as I showed earlier, I had 2 guys in one zone over here. I've got 2 guys covering one area here. I got 2 guys covering a vertical threat of these 2 guys that are next to each other. We can get away with less there. So the idea is to bring one of these 3, the monster, the corner, or the free, needs to come down to this area right here, this 7 technique outside this tight end, or a lot of you guys are going to call it a 9. We need to get a guy down here. So a lot of guys, I think the first idea would be to bring this monster straight down and have him go to the 9. And then you'd bring your corner down. He'd play like that cover 2 look with these 2. That'd be a great way. That's kind of the common way to play a cover 2. The problem was I didn't feel like that fits well into many of the other formations we want to defend. I'm big on only teaching one guy, one position. Maybe you can have one guy that's that super flex guy, because that can be your super stud. But everyone else needs to be a position they can learn well. So what we're going to do is we change this free safety and when I say we, right now it's me. I haven't even talked to my defensive coordinator about this. So that's a conversation I need to have coming up, is I'm going to say take this free safety and turn him into a new position. I'm going to call him V for Victor. We're going to call him Victor. And instead of bringing, like before, this monster down, I'm going to let this monster, went the wrong way, stay out here in this cover 2 type shell look that he's getting used to if he were to play a cover 2. My corner to stay back in the cover 2 normal safety spot, which he would be getting used to. And I'll let this Victor kid, who's going to be a stud, we hope, is going to be playing right here in the 9. Now he can come down and play that position. And this is what we'll end up with. I've still got my interior triangle, the interior 6 triangle that we love to play with. I've got a cover 2 shell over the top, and I've got my Victor, my flex man that can come down and play this 9. Now, that leaves me with some questions. That's the last slide I have drawn up. I've got a lot of questions here. I know I'm strong right here. I can play this well. These two need to be able to play the different flood route combinations from the wing tee, from a tight end wing set. They need to be able to play that well. I also know that in a running situation, a true, let's say a 3rd and 1, we would make a call that would bring this guy down. We would play heavier here and just bring this guy over the top of this and man that up. That's a possibility as well for true running situations. But what I need to know is, where am I weak? When I first look at it, I go, okay, you are weaker here than normal. But when I look at the 4-3, all you've got over here in a 4-3 is this. Whoops, just clicked that wrong. But in the 4-3, you got this. So I don't look any stronger here in a 4-3, and obviously everybody knows a 4-3 is a good defense. So it's leading me to think that maybe, just maybe, this is possible. Obviously, the sky's the limit with ideas. If this is field side, maybe there's something different you could do with Victor. Maybe there's a different way to play it. This Victor can really be that flexible guy that can go anywhere in a formation. And you obviously want to be able to be flexible with him. So those are my ideas on the cover 2. Again, I haven't done any of this. I haven't run any of this. This is all just ideas. So please, log on to the forums and tell me what you think of this cover 2 idea from the 3-3. Is this something that, am I completely flawed here? Am I missing something? Is there somewhere in there where you know I'm not thinking of this and it will go wrong? You know, tell me, Coach Albaugh, you're about to get torched if you try this because this defense is too weak here, here, and here. So log on to the forums, as always, to the Quickscreen Show topics and help me out. Tell me the weaknesses in what I just drew up today. It's all at the beginning stages of this. I'm just at the drawing board right now. So it's your perfect opportunity to chime in and help me out. I thank all you guys that have been logging in so far and helping me. You'd be amazed at how much I listen to you guys and your suggestions. That's it for this week. I hope to see you guys next week, next Tuesday, right back here on the Quickscreen Show. And until then, Coach Mike.